Okay, we're here for the next video. Yeah, made some good progress. Matter of fact, almost complete. Got a few things got one thing that I'm really hung up on. We'll talk about that in a minute. But more than that, it's pretty dang close. Now, when we look at this, I'm going to tell you right now, the wires are a mess. Everything's kind of soldered together just to kind of keep it in place. But the idea is I'm going to make it work first. Then I'll go back and rewire and put everything in nice, neat, make it look a lot nice and a lot more neater, right, when I put it all together. Also help us diagnose it whenever there's problems with it. But, so yeah, let me move some of this out of the way. Let me show you what we've done since last time. All right. Well, let's look at the clock straight from the top. So as you can see from last time, the clock now shows 1 o'clock. So from last time, I've got the brackets now are bolted down, hold it into place. So these are now bolted. But I can still, you can release, there's little latches right here on the score reels. So you can unlatch, and they are capable of pulling the score reels out so you can actually work on them if you need to. There's one lamp connected right now, and it's just this one. And that's mainly just to let me know that I've got power turned on so I don't shock myself. The other thing that I did is I went ahead and installed a service plug from an old pinball machine, from that board over there I showed you. That way I can plug my soldering iron there in when it's working. I got the transformer, the fuses are all still set up. I think I had that last time. I did add one more relay as I went through. I realized I was going to need another relay. I got most of the stuff hooked up that I'm going to need hooked up to the score reel. I cut off all the additional wires. I still have a few wires hanging here and a few wires hanging out the back over here and down underneath, because I'm not sure if I don't need them yet, right? I'm still trying to figure out. There's one more process I'm going to figure out. But basically what happens now is that when the game reaches 60 seconds, it's going to activate this solenoid here, or this relay here. When this relay pulls in, it's going to run the score motor, and it's going to do several things. So we're going to be at 59, or at 60, right? Because it rolls over the 60. Well, what I got to do at 60 is I've got to bump that score reel up by 1 hour to make it, instead of 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And I have to clear this back to 0. So that's what this relay does. It does that whole process. Now, once I get up through 12 o'clock, the next thing I have to do in 12 o'clock is this can go through. It happens all the time. It's really fat, dumb, and happy all the way up, even through 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, because the 9 just carries over into the 11 o'clock. 12 o'clock is fine, but when I reached 12:59, I have to go back and clear the reels and bump this guy to number 1. And that's really where my challenge is right now. I've got it to where if it's 12 o'clock, 12:59, hits the next minutes, it will roll these back to 0 and roll these two back to 0, and then it'll kick that one over to first position like it is here. The only problem is the way I did that, I now have a problem. At 10 o'clock, it rolls this guy to 1 o'clock when it one more bump, and it shouldn't have. But let's go through and let me show you how it kind of works, okay? So how am I going to make the clock work? Well, what I've got on ordered is a 1 minute motor, 1 RPM motor. So basically that motor is going to run real slow, and every minute it's going to run around. And when it does, I've got one more relay to kick in here. So when it does, it's going to hit a switch for a relay, and then it's going to hit another switch that says, right at the minute mark, that says, do the job, go do it. The reason I have to do that is because as that switch comes around, there's a long delay there on making the 1 minute reel click, right? And everything works off the 1 minute reel. So if I delay it too long, what happens is that reel's going to get hot and burned up. So I've got an idea how to do it. So there'll be one more relay I'm going to have to put in. and that once I get the timer motor in here to get going. But let's turn it on. Let's see what's going to happen here. So I put a cable on it that's got a switch. So turn the main board on. There we go. So now the little power light comes on, tells me that I'm needed. So it's 1 o'clock. Now, whenever we're hitting the minute, remember the motor's just going to hit a switch, and that's what I'm simulating here. So every minute, click, click, and listen. You hear that? I can't let it do that. It needs to hit it and go. So I'm going to use another timer to make it go a little bit faster. So click, 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 and get to 9 seconds, and boom. Now we're to 1. So we're going to go really quick. So now we're 20 seconds, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes. Now remember at 60 is when it's got to change to 2 o'clock, right? So it's going to go click, 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 67, 68, 69, 59 rather, and then boom. Rolls it back, moves it to 2 o'clock. Now I've got 2 o'clock, okay? Let's do that again. We're going to roll that around again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this may seem abusive, but you got to remember that score reels click a whole lot faster than that. So I'm going to back up a little bit here. Try to hold this steady. There we go. So you can see what the score reels down over here. You can watch as the score reels change, the score motor is going to run too. There you go. Do you see the score meter run over there? So now we're at 3 o'clock. And everything works great all the way up through 10 o'clock. And then at 12 o'clock is when this next relay kicks in. And it does what it's supposed to do. But unfortunately, it goes back to 1 o'clock for the next hour. But unfortunately, at 10 o'clock, it does the same thing. So I got to figure out a way to bypass that. But other than that, I'm almost there. I've got a couple of things I want to add. One of the things I am going to add is whenever the hour process happens, I've got a pair of wires that's hanging right here, just waiting off of it because I've got one switch available left that I left out available, that I'm going to put a bell up here. So on every hour, I'm going to have a big bell go bing, which will be cool. And it'll just ring the bell every hour on the hour, and away we go. So anyway, more progress being made. Another update when I get further down.